So I want to talk about resentment, the word resentment, the concept resentment. I want to talk about how resentment, when I was asked, like, what did I have, what did I resent? Was there something I resented in my life? And I was asked, how was I able to get beyond that resentment? Like, how did I get beyond it? Well, first of all, I'm going to say that I believe that resentment is something that we will occur, periodically and occasionally. Probably for some more than others, it will happen a lot often. And it's not something that I would say, go just totally what I ever experienced. So I would say this here, when I gave that question some thought, because I had to really give it some thought, and I was like, okay, well, I don't think I'm resentful of anybody, but the word resentful means when you've taken up a, what was the word? When you feel indignant about a treatment towards you. I may not be saying a verbatim definition, but the term I want to be indignant means that you feel that an injustice has been committed against you by someone, basically. That is another way of explaining the definition, but it is the literal definition. It is when you feel that you've been the victim or the recipient of injustice from someone else, an ill treatment from someone else, a treatment by someone that you didn't feel you deserved, right? I just want to be clear about the term resentment, right? And so when I thought about that, I'm like, who? Because let me tell you, mind you now, resentment plays a big part in a lot of the stuff that we do, a lot of the things that we gravitate to, because we gravitate to a lot of things to help us escape the symptoms, I'd say, of resentment. And that's why I say the more resentment we tend to accumulate, the more things we're going to need, or the more mechanisms we're going to need, the more, or even the more potency of the things we're going to need, or the more potency of the mechanisms that we use to help us deal with the symptoms of resentment. So if my first experience that I can recall where I felt I was done unjustly, that really played a real impactful, that had a real impact on my life, that really had a real impact on my future, that had a real impact on me even today, right, was how my mother failed me in so many different ways, and how I lost trust in my mother. My mother, because she was in the streets and she was addicted to drugs, and honestly speaking, my mother still has her addiction. So with all of those things, it played, well, basically what it had turned out to be was that for myself, I had just begun to lose just a lot of trust in her, because of, again, all of the different things that she done in the ways that she failed, over and over and over. And so my mother had hurt me so many different times, just me, again, thinking I get my mother. So, you naturally just don't even look for your mother to do certain things. So when she failed and stole from me, and that really was the thing. I think my mother stole from me like so many times. So as a young person, it reached a point to where I just felt I couldn't trust her. And so I had concluded at one point that if I couldn't trust my mother, then I couldn't trust no female. It is. I had some girlfriends before that time, so it wasn't just that. It was also when other relationships failed. When other adults told me they're going to do something and didn't do it. My uncle, I remember it was many times my uncles and some other adults had used to tell me, I'm going to come pick you up, or I'll be over there so and so, and they didn't. I'm sitting outside waiting on them, And I'm a kid, but I used to be sitting out, from the glasses still on. I used to be sitting out waiting on them, you know what I'm saying? And so, you watching the car hit the corner, and that car, that car, and it's not never the car you're looking for, right? And so by the time it's finna get dark or whatever, eventually at some point your hope started dwindling out. And so when that happened, I end up, that happens so often too. I think it still took me a long time to really learn a lesson out of that though. But I had my position, I believe that I took at a young age I just was just hurt. So I didn't know how it was affecting me. I just knew I was hurt by it. Because all they had to do was come back and apologize, be like, okay, I'm gonna come pick you up to later today, and don't, you know what I'm saying? So it's the same process. So, in a way, today I have a real big deal with inconsideration, and I believe strongly now with just that conversation today in that group was that I believe strongly that my core value for an individual that is considerate of another individual's time, what they got going on, just all of that, right? Just if I ask you whatever, it's like I try to be as considerate as possible of what's all entailed when I answer that question, or so on and so forth. Believe me, I try to be considerate because I have a real big thing about consideration. When I've deemed somebody to be inconsiderate, I just about have written them off. I don't even want to deal with them. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember the time when I said that if I couldn't, man, I know it was something. If I couldn't trust you, then I couldn't. If I couldn't depend on you, I couldn't trust you. And if I couldn't trust you, I couldn't love you. You feel what I'm saying? That still really stands true, except that sometimes when people say things, this is what I've learned, is sometimes when people say things, they're not really mindful of what they're saying. They've been just saying stuff for so long that they aren't really giving real consideration for the words that come out of their mouth. So when you say certain things to a guy like me, to a person like me, who taking what you're saying literally, then you don't even know how much weight has been put on your words dealing with someone like me. So, it's not saying that my resentment or that experience has just affected me overall negatively. However, I believe that it has had its impact on me socially. Like I said before, to how it made me not trust women. I think I've probably kicked some relations to the side of the lack of distrust, and maybe even somewhere today. I mean, because honestly, one of my way of thinking is that once things become out of consistency, that there's something that you're not saying now. It's like, because we are creatures of habit. So once we begin to kind of do certain things at a certain kind of consistency, you don't do it. It's something cause you to come out of your habit, to come out of your normal way of doing things. And so, for me, it's just that one of the things that I do sometimes, like dealing with a female, is that a lot of times, if you don't voluntarily kind of talk to me a little bit about what's going on, if I ask you, like, hey, what's going on, you all right, or whatever, and you don't explain that, then for me, I typically have a tendency to write it off as it being a male involved, that a man had to be somewhere in the picture. You got some other stuff going on. You seeing some other dude. You got whatever it is. You didn't really want to see me. You know what I'm saying? I'll write it off like that. And my thing is that today I tell a woman in a minute, I don't need proof. I don't need facts. When something don't line up for me, when it don't feel right for me, when it don't line up for me, I'm not going to wrestle with it. You know what I'm saying? So my thing be mindful of what you tell me. I really try to have those serious conversations, logical conversations. You understand? A logical conversation with ladies of interest, because that's serious for me. Communication and understanding, that's very serious for me, because of the fact that once I have deemed you to be inconsiderate, not about what you say, when your words and your actions don't align up, they don't support each other. Again, I don't try to figure out the truth. I don't try to figure out what caused it. The most I'm gonna do is ask you, like, what's up? I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna give you the opportunity to explain. Maybe even more than a few times. You understand? But I will say this. I had some girlfriends before that time, so it wasn't just that. It was also when other relationships failed. When other adults told me they're going to do something and didn't do it. You know, my uncle, I remember it was many times my uncles and some other adults that used to tell me, I'm going to come pick you up, or I'll be over there so and so, and they didn't. I'm sitting outside waiting on them, you know. And I'm a kid, but I used to be sitting out, my glasses still on. I used to be sitting out waiting on them, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, you watching the car hit the corner, and that car, that car, and it's not never the car you're looking for, right? And so by the time it's finna get dark or whatever, you know, eventually at some point your hope started dwindling out. And so when that happened, I end up, you know, that happens so often too. I think it still took me a long time to really learn a lesson out of that though, but I had my position, I believe that I took at a young age was, I just, was just hurt. So I didn't know how it was affecting me. I just knew I was hurt by it. Because all they had to do was come back and apologize. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to come pick you up later today. And don't. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same process. So, in a way, today I have a real big deal with inconsideration. And I believe strongly now, with just that conversation today in that group was that, I believe strongly that my core value for an individual that is considerate of another individual's time, what they got going on, just all of that, right? You know, just if I ask you whatever, it's like I try to be as considerate as possible of what's all entailed when I ask you that question, or you know, so on and so forth. Believe me, I try to be considerate because I have a real big thing about consideration. When I've deemed somebody to be inconsiderate, I just about have written them off. I don't even want to deal with them. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember the time when I said that if I couldn't, man, I know it was something. If I couldn't trust you, then I couldn't. If I couldn't depend on you, I couldn't trust you. And if I couldn't trust you, I couldn't love you. You feel what I'm saying? That still really stands true, except that sometimes when people say things, this is what I've learned, is sometimes when people say things, they're not really mindful of what they're saying. They've been just saying stuff for so long that they aren't really giving real consideration for the words that come out of their mouth. So when you say certain things to a guy like me, to a person like me, who taking what you're saying literally, then you don't even know how much weight has been put on your words dealing with someone like me. So, you know, it's not saying that my resentment or that experience has just affected me overall negatively. However, I believe that it has had its impact on me socially. You know, like I said before, to how it made me not trust women. I think I've probably kicked some relations to the side of the lack of distrust, and maybe even somewhere today. I mean, like, you know, because honestly, one of my way of thinking is that once things become out of consistency, that there's something that you're not saying now. You know, it's like, because we are creatures of habit. So once we begin to kind of do certain things at a certain kind of consistency, you don't do it. It's something cause you to come out of your habit, to come out of your normal way of doing things. And so, for me, it's just that one of the things that I do sometimes, like dealing with a female, is that a lot of times, if you don't voluntarily kind of talk to me a little bit about what's going on, if I ask you, like, hey, what's going on, you alright, or whatever, and you don't explain that, then for me, I typically have a tendency to write it off as it being a male involved. You know, that a man had to be somewhere in the picture. You know, you got some other stuff going on. You seeing some other dude. You got whatever it is. You didn't really want to see me. You know what I'm saying? I'll write it off like that. And my thing is that today, I tell a woman in a minute, I don't need proof. I don't need facts. When something don't line up for me, when it don't feel right for me, when it don't line up for me, I'm not going to wrestle with it. You know what I'm saying? So my thing be mindful of what you tell me. You know, I really try to have those serious conversations, logical conversations. You understand? a logical conversation with ladies of interest, because I mean that's serious for me. Communication, understanding, that's very serious for me, because of the fact that once I have deemed you to be inconsiderate, not about what you say, when your words and your actions don't align up, they don't support each other. I mean, again, I don't try to figure out the truth. I don't try to figure out what caused it. The most I'm gonna do is ask you, like, what's up? I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna give you the opportunity to explain. Maybe even more than a few times. You understand? So once I've concluded that it's just not worth my energy, because anything that you can't trust is not worth your energy. Anything that you cannot trust is not worth your energy, because it's gonna stress you for one. It's gonna have you, in which stress is unhealthy. It's gonna have where you really can't sleep like you want to sleep. It's gonna have you where you're not probably eating like you want to eat. I mean, it's just gonna affect you socially. It's gonna affect you personally. It's gonna affect you socially. It might even affect the way you deal with your children. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't believe being in a relationship that is tumultuous. That that is a it causes mental anguish. It causes stress. It causes where you're not at peace of mind. And that's why I constantly say peace of mind is like everything. Nothing is more valuable than having a peace of mind. Nothing is worth that. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, in a way, so when it comes to those kind of situations, for me, when it comes to like when I'm dealing with someone, I'm meeting someone, I'm talking to that, I mean, as a result of that resentment or that result of those experiences, I mean, I've learned not to put too much into it. I've learned to, hey man, when they say it, saying it is what it is probably the most like thorough conclusion and statement that an individual could have let come out of their mouth and come through their brain out of their mouth, because I mean it really is. Whatever it is, that's what it is. And guess what? If it does not comfort me, if you don't feel enough about getting to know me or whatever the case may be to want my peace of mind, to comfort me, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm going to go beyond to try to communicate, to try to cause you a certain level of comfort, and whatever the conclusions is, you know what I'm saying? Because I know what I would want, you know what I'm saying? So another thing was that I think that happened. It kind of helped me see what was going on with myself, because I had some experience even as a young adult where I was just giving my trust out. We home together, we go somewhere, we ride together, it's us, you know what I'm saying? And so when I found myself in locked up situations, the first the first 3 times I got locked up was really as the mistake made by other people. Yeah, I was in the gang, I was doing illegals, but they didn't catch me. They wasn't, like, the police wouldn't be there for me. As long as I'm by myself, I'm good. But whenever I was with somebody, it's when I end up paying the biggest price. So, one thing that I learned just with that as a result of when I was on the run, these are things I'm going to talk to y'all about eventually. When I was on the run from the police and all that, everybody who said they was my friend, who said they loved me, wasn't there for me. Now I can look back and say, okay, I understand people didn't want to heat this, that, and other, whatever. But when you love somebody, you talk to them, you communicate that with somebody. Now, I mean, I get it. We was young, we was high, we wasn't mentally well, emotionally well, whatever. But again, my point is that whatever's in your heart, man, we play it out in our actions in some kind of form or fashion. When somebody is crazy about you, you're gonna know it. When somebody really, really care for you, you're gonna know it. And when they don't, you're gonna know it. Because it plays out in the person's action. So for me, when I was giving out my trust like that, and it really hurt me to find out people wasn't there. I thought they was going to be there. They really wasn't there in the way I would have been there for them. So I remember when I was locked up, I was going through, my phases and my mental thoughts and all that, right? And I remember a dude that was probably like about 2 years, 3 years younger than me. He was like, we talked about my whole experience a little bit. And I'm like telling him, he's trying to figure out why how I am at that particular moment. And I told him, I say, man, about this, that, and the other, about people, how they play them a trust on. And he said, man, what I hear I ain't never forgot these words. He said, man, what I hear is that you gave out your trust, man. Trust isn't something you give out. Trust is something that people got to earn from you. And so that really resonated with me. So from that point on, eventually how it began to cement in my life was I didn't hardly trust nobody. But that didn't work out either. That was like another extreme. No trust at all. But trusting you too much and then no trust at all. Two extremes. Neither good. So I learned in my maturity is that you have to be able to give of yourself into people. You got to invest into people. Like you invest in the stock or a business or whatever you go and put your money into. When you invest into this thing, you only put so much into it that you can actually lose. Because no investment is guaranteed to give you back what you put into it. So just like with people, whatever you put into these people, into another individual, into a potential mate or whatever, it has to be something that you can lose. You know what I'm saying? That they don't have to give back to you. That they don't, and you can walk away from that with a peace of mind. That investment is no good. It doesn't give you returns. You feel what I'm saying? And that's how I deal out my trust today. But you know, it's just, again, not trying to keep us on a point of resentment, because I really want you to understand how all of that connected from me not trusting my mother to me, you know, had my experiences with, you know, people around me and how all that played out. Because I'm like I said, again, one day, I don't want this to be too long, but I'm going to go real thorough into my whole life experience with my mother, streets, all of that. And I mean, friends, I have a lot to share and tell, because it's I guess it was God only meant for me to remember so much. I remember so much about my upbringing, and the thing about it, I don't just remember it. I understand some things I understand a lot of things about it. I understand some principal jewels about all those experiences. Now that's what makes those experiences so valuable and so wealthy. But over time I will share those with you. But my main thing, again, if you have some resentment for something, because you have to first understand what it was, you know, what caused it, because it causes a chain reaction, and it has us drinking, it has us smoking. We don't want to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? We got bad relationship with people. We don't like people. We don't trust people. We don't tolerate people. All that as a result of things that happen to us at a very early age. Now, I feel like some things that has happened, you can't necessarily excuse a person, because you could have done nothing. Like, you know, if you really been listening to me, you know I'm big about accountability. I'm big about you really, you know, being able to claim your position, right? But as a kid, some things that you have, like as a kid, a lot of things you don't have no control over. It's things that your guardian was supposed to protect you from, and things happen to you as a kid, right? Or as a young person, period, right? And so, with that, we have to be able to still move on and not have that experience keep us in some type of emotional and mental prison for us to be able to move on. You have to understand, you have to really be able to understand and embrace the fact that only hurt people, man. Those are people too that are sick and have never recovered. And that, best believe that their life choices, the things that they do, is going to take a toll in their life if it hadn't already. It's going to tear them apart. They're going to have to deal with their evils like each and every one of us, because here's the other piece of that. Nobody's imperfection is no greater than another individual. We all have the same potential for being evil as we do for being good. And when you really truly understand that, then that will kind of make you a bit more I would say understanding and tolerable about another individual. But more than anything, it's for you. It's to release you from the prisons that begin to encage you from all those experiences that we have not begun to understand, that we can't make sense of, that has made us a victim and has imprisoned us. And I'm going to tell you, anytime we are a victim to something, we put ourselves in a position of vulnerability that we don't have the power to do what we need to do to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? So we have to always fight ever becoming a victim to anything and anybody. My strong understanding and perspective is this here now about knowledge, schools of thought, religion, anything else, that if it puts you in a box, man, if it puts you in a prison, man, it's something about it ain't right. Either it ain't right or the way you are interpreting it and looking at it ain't right. And so you need to first evaluate you first. And when you've done all your work about you, then you begin to go in and really investigate and study this external object, whether it be religion, book, person, whatever. You got to then study that and say, okay, no, I'm not that fucked up. I might be fucked up a little bit, but I'm not that fucked up. That wasn't me this time. Let me look at this other person. Let me ask some questions, not to argue, not to debate, not really to point fingers, but I want to understand. I need to understand what happened. Cause let me tell you something. I believe under some circumstances, when we have a discussion with people to understand them, and not to debate, not to argue, not to prove no point, not to get your facts across, and not to be understood, but we come to people asking questions because I just want to understand you, man. The more I understand you, the better I can deal with you. But even that, the better understanding I have to know that if, we even have the type of chemistry, or if I have the type of makeup to deal with you in harmony. You see, me and you might not have the kind of makeup that allows me and you to deal with each other in harmony. Well, we might not be the best for each other, right? We might not be, we might not have the type of chemistry or compatibility needed or required to where it brings out the best of both of us. They have that. A lot of times, people might say, I'm a dog motherfucker, or I ain't shit, or he stupid, or he crazy, or whatever, right? People might say that about me, but you got a whole nother group of people, and hopefully a bigger percentage that speak the most about me. You know what I'm saying? I'm all the above. But the main thing about that, and the reason for that, is because, the experience is different. People's perspective in life, where they personally stand at, that plays the biggest piece out of everything. Where you personally stand as a result of all you went through, the way you looked at it, the way you got through it. If you a victim or you a God in this here. And the reason why I say God is because a God controls his and her world, her personal body, her personal frame. That means that can't nothing stop you, can't nothing get in your way, can't nothing make you do this, can't nothing make you do that. If you do whatever you do, that's because you made that decision, the choice to do so. But to claim that responsibility, that is what ascends you to your higher self, your mental self. That's your God self, your mental self. We have emotional components that's connected to our fleshly body. Yes, indeed. For a reason. But it's not an excuse for doing the stuff that we do, man. Experiences that with my mom. Still today, I'm there for my mom. I see her. I can deal with it from a distance better than I can up close. I thought I wanted me and my mother to live together, honestly. And we stayed together for about 2 years. And let me tell you, it tested me like no other test had ever tested me. It stressed me in no other way. And nothing else stressed me. It pushed me to my edge. It pushed me to the brink. You know what I'm saying? So that's something, honestly, I know I'm not ready for. I can't do it with my mom. And it's because my mom, I'm gonna tell you something, for two people to really make it, you have to be able to hold yourself accountable. Nobody's perfect. We're not gonna be perfect. So one person can't bear the burden. Not all the time, not even majority of the time. Both parties have to know what they could have done differently. All the time. In any kind of misunderstanding, in anything that goes wrong, in any kind of argument, whatever, man. If you do not make a habit, and I'm saying this in closing, if you don't make a habit out of being able to recognize and verbalize sincerely, man, don't just say this shit just because you're trying to get past and move on to feeling good again, because you want everything to be right, because that is a facade type of right. That's not even it's a superficial right. It ain't even real. It ain't authentic because it's not built on the truth. So when you really want it to be right, when you really want it to feel right, when you really want the energy in the house to be good, when you really want to be able to produce and speak life in each other, then you have to be able to strive toward correction and try to strive for perfection. You have to be your goal. It have to be both individuals' goal in the unit. That you have to want to strive for perspective, for perspective. God damn it, for perfection. Shit. You have to want to be able to strive for that. You have to be not just want. You have to be striving for that. And one of the most strongest, I'm just going to use that term, most strongest proofs that a person isn't committed for striving for perfection daily is the inability to hold yourself accountable, man. The inability to look in the self and say, what could I have done differently? And admit to the ones you say you love what that could have been, even if it's your kids. You have to teach that with your kids. Other than that, your kids can't walk it out. You have to become that first. That's why I believe in talking to the adult more than I believe talking to the kid, because you have the child more than the child would be in my presence. You have to change first. Other than that, everything I give a child is like throwing it on no good sand. Seeds on no good sand. Sand is so hard and corroded on top where the seeds never even go in and down on top of the sand. That's what my words and teachings are like. Because of what the child is being cultivated and how the child is being illy treated and so on in the house. And when I say illy treated, I'm saying mentally and emotionally. The kind of shit that we allow our kids to do. So, resentment. Recognize and know what your resentments are. Recognize and know what your resentments are. Identify. Understand how they have made you worse. Understand how they have made you better. Understand what created the resentments. Understand so I'm gonna tell you what the resentment is too. Just a little add now. I know I sound so close, but just a little add. All your buttons. Your emotions sit on your buttons. Your buttons could be pleasure, gratification. You have all kinds of buttons. Gratification, laughter, all that. But you also have buttons that make you angry, that make you mad, that makes you feel, that makes you get defensive. Anytime you get defensive, that's one of the buttons where your resentment is about to be created. Understand what those things are. Understand what those things are and get on top of those things. Because it's only when we get on top of those things that we are becoming better personally. Michael Jackson said a long time ago, look at the man in the mirror, become that person. Become who you want the world to be. The change starts with you. So, as I teach and promote healing, I also strive to grow and heal more and more every day. But it takes you to be able to recognize some things, to be able to be truthful with some things, to be able to admit it and take some ownership and then grab it, control it, master it. If you need any help with anything, my website is in the link. You know my DMs, my messaging, you can contact me. And I'm willing to talk with anybody. If you need some extensive stuff, go to the website and book something. You know, book me and we can make some things happen. But again, man, I do what I do with these videos. Really, my videos could damn near be all the help you need. You just go back and look at them and study, man. Study the words, study the terminology. I don't just be speaking just to be speaking. I don't just be usually talking just to be talking. But anyway, peace and blessings, and I really hope that I said anything that was able to help and improve and get you to the next phase in your development, and that much closer to sustaining and attaining a peace of mind.